Thanks for staying with us. So the enforcement placed by the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on the ban of Okada activities in 6 local governments in the state begins today. Joining us on the show to talk more about this pronouncement is the Honorable Commissioner for Information, Mr. Gbenga Omotoso. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
So last week we discussed this about twice, because we're talking about all the various angles that's been banned before, it's not been sustained, we went back on the ban, various angles. But the most concern we have is security. Because now you've banned, many Nigerians are happy about the ban in these various 6 areas. But they are worried that those you have banned, where would they go? What will become of them? And how would you secure those of us within the other areas? So how do you plan to ensure security of the other areas?
Thank you very much. Very nice question. That security concerns have been raised. In the first place, this ban was placed because of security concerns. The kind of security concerns that Okada generated is bigger than anyone that anybody may think of. That it may happen because some people have been asked not to operate Okada business. I assure you that the security agencies are on top of the matter. I assure you that from various levels, right from intelligence gathering by our neighborhood watch people, right from community development associations, the police, and other services, they are ready to see that all of the noise about this is going to cause security problems, they don't become a reality. And I assure you it's not going to.
So I noticed on Sunday, I was going back home around 10, 11 p.m., and I saw Okada, like a group of, I counted about almost 20 of them, carrying passengers with like a sack bag, and it was as if they were leaving Lagos. My thought was, oh, maybe in preparation for the June 1st implementation. Has any reports gotten to your office about the exodus, a movement of Okada people out of Lagos? And is that something you're looking to see more of happen as opposed to impounding and crushing the bikes?
So many of such reports we've got in our office and at police stations. I spoke with the Commissioner of Police yesterday, and he assured me that his people saw some of these guys leaving because they have seen that if Lagos says we don't want Okada because of security and safety concerns, there is no point in posting that kind of business on us. And people have seen that Okada, in terms of safety, you cannot guarantee it at all. And the government has seen the bigger picture. It's even beyond safety, beyond so many things that people may consider to be favorable to them in mounting Okada. Government has seen the bigger picture that the kind of insecurity we have in some parts of Nigeria, we don't want it in Lagos. Apart from that, in the first quarter of this year, we had 1,712 accidents. Of the 1,712, Okada constituted 767, or 45%. And if you look at that, motor vehicles, 42%, then tricycles, about 96 accidents, which is just 6%. And then the worst part of it is that the people who are victims of this, they are our young people between the ages of 30 and 39, 54% of them. So there is no way we can say that the blood of our young people who are leaders of today, leaders of tomorrow, being spilled on the road, and then we keep quiet. Right, so the security concern is so big that there are not even things that you come on television and begin to talk about. So it is high time we all joined hands and ensure that the ban stays and stays permanently.
Okay, sir. This is not the first time Lagos State will be banning, Okada activities in some parts of Lagos. However, the problem we see is after a while, we don't see a lot of enforcement, there's no implementation, and they start sliding back in. What is going to make this ban different from the other ones we've had so far?
But if you talk about the ban being slacked, there's a kind of history to it. Say, for example, when Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the governor, first made this pronouncement on February 1, 2020, you can go back, have a flashback. You will see that it was well implemented. It was well enforced. And these guys, out of their own volition, were leaving Lagos, and everybody was happy. But all of a sudden, nobody ever planned that we were going to have COVID-19. It came upon us, a calamity that affected the whole world. We are still just recovering from it. And then because of that, everybody was fighting for his or her life. And then the enforcement became weakened. And people thought it was going to continue like that. So massively, they moved Okada into Lagos. But now, we have seen the danger that this mode of transportation constitutes. And we are saying, this one, COVID is out of the way. Now we have all the means of enforcement to ensure that this ban stays. And I'm sure it's going to stay. Yesterday, day before yesterday, I think yesterday, the police led other services, the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force, on a kind of show of, they call it a show of force, but I call it a road show, to show Lagosians that they are indeed ready to enforce this ban. Because they themselves, they have seen it, that it's a very big thing, and that Lagos should just not be dozing when you have a kind of fire on your roof.
Right.
So they are going to ensure that the ban stays permanently.
Yeah, we read in the papers today that you had recruited 640 extra people to enforce this ban. And last week, it was in the papers that they were burning some bikes that were flouting the law. How are we going to ensure that these security agencies do the right thing? If they're going to destroy the bikes, let us see that they are destroying the bikes. If they're going to sell the bikes to individuals, let us know that it's not that the security agencies are chopping and then they are eating their legs. You know, when you want Jen, let's say, you know, how the Yoruba people say it. How are we going to make sure they don't do that? And then I was going to ask again, what are you going to do? Because they're going to go to the places that they're not banned, and they're going to
crowd the place.
How are you going to ensure that it's a regulated thing, that you need to regulate Okadas, whether they are on the main streets or in the unbanned areas?
I'd like to add to Ike's, because that first question is very critical. Like, what does implementation look like? Like, so you have 600 men, as Ike had said. What are they going to do exactly? Is it arresting people? Are they confiscating? What exactly would implementation look like?
Well,
thank you.
First, let me just go to our own question. How are we going to ensure that the security people are doing the right thing? They will do the right thing. This is the first time in a long time. I haven't seen it since I came into the administration of Mr. Vaide Sanwo-Olu, that he is having a meeting with the DPOs, all area commanders, and the commissioner of police. This is very rare. And he told them in clear, explicit terms that this is what Lagosians want about Okada, and that it must be done without any compromise. And they agreed. They clapped. They applauded him. And they said, look, Okada has posed a lot of challenges to us in terms of doing our job. So we have no choice. We have to implement this. Then one important thing I would like people to know is that this is even people-driven. Lagosians themselves are saying that we are tired of this mode of transportation. Yeah. We know that some of us, we have experienced the negative aspect of this, apart from the fact that people are having their limbs broken, their heads smashed. They also have their purses snatched. Yeah. And government is even saying snatching of purses and all of that, that they are just preliminaries. They are just mere infinitesimal things about the kind of every problem in terms of security that Okada poses. So implementation is going to be people-driven. And if it's people-driven, there's no way you can leave Apapa and begin to go to Agege or some other places, and then Okada people that they have not been seen there before, they will be seen there, and then they will be allowed. Besides, it's a like the governor said, it's just it's a phased ban. This one is a warning to all the other places where you don't have Okada, that the government is coming there, because they have seen the big picture, that there's no way.
Let's talk about the alternative. So, for example, Surulere is one of the places that's been banned. Now, let's say I want to go to my uncle's house in Masha. Usually, I get to Stadium. I'm just thinking top of my head. And from Stadium, I take a bike to my uncle's house in Masha. Now, what alternative is the government providing for me? So when I stop at Stadium, how do I get to my uncle's house in Masha? Well,
like we have said several times, the government has brought out 500 last mile and first mile buses. We were pushing them onto the streets in batches. And this last week, 200 buses were released. But there is one thing I usually tell people, that there's a Yoruba proverb that says that before the arrival of the corn, what was the chicken feeding on? Lagos is the tiniest state in Nigeria. It's the most populated state, yet small land space. When I was young in Lagos, I used to walk everywhere. So what has changed? Why is it that people no longer want to walk? Especially when you look at this mode of transportation, because Okada takes you into your bedroom and you think it is fine. When you see the negative side, when you know a little bit about the bigger picture that the government has seen, when you consider what Okada has done in some other states, you will agree with the government that it's better for you to walk and keep fit. If you, I mean, bus stops are not too far from people's homes, but it's just that we are now used to this Okada culture.
Actually,
I
agree, because while I was growing up, I mentioned it the day we were discussing on the show that when I was growing up, we used to walk from my house to the bus stop, but now everybody takes a bike from that same house to the bus stop. However, we must acknowledge the fact that we don't have walkways. So it means that the places, there are no demarcated walkways on major roads. Of course, there are some roads that have that part for walking, but major roads don't have it. And we cannot expect people to be walking and then you're having the drama of tricycles, because even if you ban bikes, we still need the tricycles, and they would want to edge you out of the road as well at the same time. But there was the real question is, the question YK asked, Mariah asked it, and I think we need to revisit it, because we cannot arrest everybody. And when we arrest people and take their bikes, what are we going to do with the people? What are we going to do with the bikes? Is there a move to say, okay, we take you back to your state, you are from whatever state, and we take you out to the boundary, ride your bike out? Or do we have space to actually arrest everybody and keep them?
Well, what we do with the bikes is that we crush them. Very soon, we are going to be showing pictures of where the bikes are being crushed.
Wow.
I mean, if government says there's a ban on bikes, I do not see any reason why people should be making excuses that these guys should be allowed to stay, that we're going to take them to the borders and ask them to get out of Lagos. You see, you can go and ride your bike in any other place. And if the government says there is a ban, there's a ban and it must stay. But the thing is that people who talk about alternatives, we are doing a lot in transportation. It's the first pillar of the team's agenda, traffic management and transportation. So we are building jetties, 15 jetties that we are building as I speak with you, most of them 90% completed. And some of them completed already in Apa, Badagry, in Liverpool, in Apapa, in Ijede, in Ilashe, in Ajido, in so many places. So the jetties are there, and then for the past 3 years, the Lac Ferry has been operating its ferries, no single accident, no accident record. So many, many more Lagosians have been encouraged to use the waterways. And by God's grace, by the end of this year, we are going to have our rail lines working. By the first quarter of next year, rail lines will be, commercial services will begin on those rail lines, the blue line and the red line. And then after that, we pick on the other lines too, that will be coming, about 8 of them, I think. So Lagos is going to have it nice in terms of transportation.
Okay. Let me take this call from Gbenga. Gbenga from Oyo, are you there? Hello, Gbenga.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. The next is today, and this Lagos State government made this policy that sent a kind of note of caution to other neighboring states. I'm calling you from Oyo State, and we know that the ban of Okada in Lagos State means the exodus of these Okada riders to neighboring states like Oyo State and Ogun State. And we've come to realize that as much as
sorry about that. We have them. Okay,
yes, so my worry is that when this ban happens, which it has started today, most of these bikers will move to those other places that don't have a ban yet. Is there anything the government is planning to do with local government to get the data of people who ride these bikes in those places? Because if you come to some of these areas, I went to one during the weekend, you see where they live, where they sleep. We don't have their number. We don't know how many they are. They are raising children. They are defecating everywhere. They are waking up on, some of them are sleeping on the bikes and waking up. Is there any plan to at least get their number, get their names, get their, register them so that you can get a hold of them if anything happens, pending when you bring a ban to those places? Because I'm worried for those people living in those areas.
That's the thing. That's the question I was asking. Because they are going to move
into those hinterlands, yes.
Banned.
We recall
and my area is one of those areas.
2 years ago, when the government first pronounced this ban, we tried to say we wanted to regulate these guys. Then we asked them to come and obtain last track card, that if you stay in Lagos for about 3 months, let us know where you stay, let us know who you are, let us be able to cater for you. But these guys didn't show up. Even some of these bikes that we are talking about, go and look at them closely. They are not registered. We are talking about a group of lawless people, a group of people who want to turn Lagos into a jungle, and people from whom we have to take back our state. And that is what we are doing. If they go to some other parts of the state, I tell you, I assure you, they will meet the law there. They will meet the law there. From the grassroots, this enforcement is going to be very serious. The people of Lekki, a couple of days ago, they had a press conference to say that they themselves, they are backing the government and they are forming their own group to enforce the ban, that no Okada must be visible in Lekki, no Okada must be seen, that they are going to annihilate them. So I feel that because it's a people-driven thing, many things may be going on in your neighborhood and you won't know. I assure you, because the local governments are involved in this, the community development associations are involved, everybody is involved, that we must take back our communities from the tyranny of Okada.
Okay. Honestly, I think a lot of Nigerians and a lot of Lagosians agree with this ban on Okadas, because we know what a menace they've become. But one of the policies that we discussed was that they were going to be arresting the passengers as well. And I know when we were discussing it, I mentioned the fact that we should do a preventive move where there are signage on major roads where it's like a junction. When you turn into this place, you are entering no zone, but on this side, you're safe. It should be there in the same way we put that no U-turn, so you can see that you mustn't pass these boundaries. How would the implementation affect passengers who find themselves being unaware of the law and where the boundaries of what is acceptable and where not is acceptable is?
Lagosians are very sophisticated people. They are people who know the law. In fact, there are people who are not lawyers who will tell you, be proving to you that they are more legalistic than you. You see, the signs are there with an Okada and then a cross. So people say that it's like people who drive against the traffic. At times they say the law enforcement agencies that they deceive them in going there, and then at the end of the lane, you see that it's a one-way. The signs are there, they're all over the place. And the law is very clear. The Lagos Traffic Law of 2012, reworked in 2018, it says that Okada, Keke Marua, and all of these kind of mode of transportation must not be found on major highways, on major roads, and on bridges in any part of Lagos. So the ban that we're even talking about is all over Lagos.
Bridges and flyovers.
Bridges, flyovers, pedestrian bridges, major highways, major roads, they must not be visible, they must not be found, they must not be heard on all these roads. So it's not a question of people not knowing where Okada should operate and where should not operate.
Honorable, let me, because Lagos State is part of the objective is to increase revenue. Everybody sees an opportunity. So why are we, some might argue that can Lagos State see this as another revenue opportunity where we get players who can be regulated, who can hire proper and have color demarcations across local government. So if you enter Koshofe, this is the color of Koshofe, and we only have 200, 300 registered bikes, and this is where they are. For Magodo is only 10. You know, like there's a way that is properly regulated where we have they pay taxes. Like, so it's a revenue generating opportunity for the government, because it's as we're growing, do you think Lagos State should reconsider, yes, ban it in the major highways, but they can actually find a way to regulate it such that it can still make revenue for the state?
Well, all of these things were put on the table before the decision was made. And I remember what one of my colleagues said when somebody said, I mean, why don't we just bring these guys together? They are a disorganized group. Let us organize them. And then let us be able to see what we can make out of this situation in terms of revenue. And one of our colleagues won. He said that is blood money. He said if you look at the figures, that they are scary. That means 1,712 accidents in just 4 months, and then 6, 7 of them, Okada accidents, then you are talking about revenue. He said, no. That Mr. Baide Sanwo-Olu is not somebody who is going to trade in limbs and health of Lagosians for money. There are better, more decent ways of earning revenue, especially when you consider lives that are involved and when you consider the security implications and when you have access to the larger picture. All of us, let's just think about it. All of the things that are being done that are negative in all parts of Nigeria, Okada is the biggest facilitator. You don't see bandits going in vehicles to attack places or to attack trains. And no. They ride by Okada. And then Okada is just growing in Lagos like mushrooms. Okay. Okada colonies everywhere. So you can imagine colonies. What can happen to all the Okada people in Lagos, and they are very well organized.
Let me come to BC. I have a call holding though. Onipedi, I believe. Are you still there?
Yeah.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello. How are you?
Morning. Very good.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Hello.
We can hear you clearly. Go ahead, please.
You see, the problem we have in Nigeria, is that people don't follow law. Even when the government makes law, they will not follow it. You will see the security people compromising with all these other people collecting money, going against the traffic, everything being done. Even after I was bashed one day. So I had to just leave him because I don't know. I don't want to be lynched and be burnt. Because these Okada people.
Thank you very much, Ms. Onyekpede. Fantastic.
Yes,
Go ahead.
so the caller just harped on one of the questions I wanted to ask. We see a lot of law enforcement people who are supposed to be enforcing these laws, be the first to break the laws. You will see them on the bikes riding, and you can't even challenge them. And after a while, everybody just feels, if a soldier man can wear his uniform and ride on the bike, I'm going to do the same. That's one. How do you intend to curb that? Secondly, most of these roads that we usually take the bikes to are not good roads. And so if you take a taxi or a bus, they can't get into those roads. What's the plan to make those roads at least motorable for people to be able to drive in? Then we will trek the rest. We will start adopting the trekking. Then finally,
he will not remember now.
No, he will remember. He's smart. Finally, sir, we see a lot of trucks coming in from other states, and we see those bike riders with their bikes laying with animals. So you see a truck that's supposed to be bringing cows, and we have a lot of human beings amidst the cows that come in. That's why we have a lot of influx of people who ride these bikes. What is the state doing, especially at the borders, to ensure that these people no longer come in?
Well, let me start from the last question. There is no law in Nigeria that says that you stop people coming into your state. Okay. The Constitution allows Nigerians to live in any part of the country that they want to. But all you need to do, and all we are saying in Lagos, is that you have to be law-abiding. So if Lagos is saying that there's a ban of motorcycles, people will know that they cannot bring it in. So anybody brings in motorcycles into Lagos, especially where we have pronounced a ban now, the person is liable to face the law. Okay. And the law will take its course. Then number two, that what are we going to be doing about roads that are bad, where people are supposed... Those are the roads that, the inner roads that we are talking about, that the first mile and the last buses are expected to cater for. As I speak with you now, if you go online, you'll find Lagos Public Works Corporation working on roads. There are about 9,604 roads in Lagos. Of this number, Lagos Public Works has fixed a lot, and they are still fixing day and night. They are the only corporation that works at night. So the roads, we continue to fix them. Then the local governments should have been encouraged to take up roads in the areas and fix them. So there's no way we can fix all the roads in Lagos all of the time, at the same time. But one thing that is important that I would like people to note is that the government should be credited with some intelligence. The government should be credited with some audacity that you can say a ban on Okada at this particular time, it means a lot. So our security should not be compromised because we have bad roads. No. And I assure you, wherever the roads are so bad that people cannot even find the vehicles going through, the government will get there in no time. Public Works Corporation is working, and the big contractors too, they are working on the big ones. Like,
have you almost go ahead, right?
I just wanted to, because they were talking about, you might see an Okada with somebody in uniform. Are private individuals allowed to ply those roads? They are not Okadas. They are just, I just own my bike and I'm using it to go to work.
I was going to answer that question about uniform people who are expected to enforce the enforcement, whether they are the ones who are going to sabotage it and compromise it. Like I said, this is the first time that Mr. Governor is meeting with all DPOs, with all area commanders, and with the Commissioner of Police under the same roof. And all of them, they pledge to work together to ensure that this is well enforced. And for the not for the first time, I was privileged last week to be at the Security Council meeting where all services were represented: the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force, Civil Defense, even immigration was there. So these people pledged to work together to ensure that this Okada ban is enforced to the letter without any compromise. And I have no reason to doubt their integrity. There's no way you will not find one or two bad eggs amongst them. But the thing is that when they get punished, such people, when they are caught and they get punished, they probably may not know about it because all these military people, they have their own way. Then individuals who are not military people who want to just ride their Okada and all that, there's a specification on the kind of Okada you can even ride. Because you know our people, once you just give any small room, they give them an inch, they just take a mile. They exploit it and begin to turn it into a laissez-faire attitude. You now see all Okada riders saying, we are individuals, so we are riding on our own, and then they begin to operate maybe at night.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. All right, I have to take a Olu from Ibejuleki. Are you there, Olu?
I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to say that our man that they are talking, I want to decipher in so many of the things he said. He just was giving sweeping answers. You ladies there have asked him very cogent questions that I was expecting that will give us a step-by-step plan as to how to achieve this enforcement. We have said it time and again. This is not the first time this banning is coming. This is not the first time we have seen them sweep. And I do not accept his explanation that it was COVID that did not make the first enforcement. Solid.
Hello, Olu? Oh, hello.
Oh, wow.
I'm so sorry. Lost that call. So I think she was just saying that she I guess she's just the average Nigerian saying, we hope this time around that it's going to be truly enforced. And I'm happy that you said that all the various security apparatus have been engaged. And they've all pledged to ensure that this enforcement pulls through. But you see, I mean, let me ask you a question, sir. Have you ever tried to miss a flight and you needed a bike? I just know that only a bike that can get you to the international airport. You know, like people
You have almost missed the flight.
Like we almost missed a flight. So sometimes when you as much as I know that Okada is dangerous, but it has come through for some people. And that's why it's so difficult to really divorce yourself from Okada. And I like the point you made, that blood money is not right. No matter how nice we like the Okada, we must remember that it's killing people.
Yes.
So I like that fact, but it's just so difficult to take a bike.
Learn to trek.
Let me just answer your question with a very simple question too. Have you ever experienced somebody who is supposed to travel tonight and then gets his or her bag snatched and the passport inside the bag and Okada is used as a getaway vehicle?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It happens.
Yeah.
I've seen friends who have lost their cards, you know, American cards, and you know, bankers and so many things, all because they were even working an Okada, you know, snatched such bags. So we have to look at the flip side too.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner Information. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We just wish, we are hoping for the best. And
We're hoping for full implementation.
Let's hope there's true and complete, total overhaul and implementation of this Okada ban.
And so it shall be.
All right. That is all we can take on the show today. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.